It was December 9th when prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald stunned the country by announcing his criminal complaint against Governor Rod Blagojevich of Illinois, accusing the governor, with lots of colorful detail, of trying to sell an appointment to Barack Obama's U.S. Senate seat for the governor's own personal gain. That press conference was December 9th. By December 10th, the very next day, all 50 Democratic U.S. senators signed onto a letter that said they thought Governor Blagojevich should resign and that he definitely should not appoint anyone to that Senate seat in the meantime. They said, quote, "Should you decide to ignore the request of the Senate Democratic caucus and make an appointment, we would be forced to exercise our constitutional authority under Article 1, Section 5 to determine whether such a person should be seated." So in other words, don't bother appointing someone, Governor F. word, we won't let you. That was the day after the Blagojevich scandal first broke. A week later, Blagojevich's lawyer, Ed Gensen, said at his own press conference that Blagojevich would not appoint anyone to Obama's seat.
Well, Harry Reid said that they're not going to accept anybody he picks. Why would he do that?
Why would he do that? So the issue's settled, right? Blagojevich, even if he will not resign, even if he says he's going to fight, he's not going to appoint someone to fill Barack Obama's seat, right? Wrong. Governor F. word today defied all expectations and announced that our previous guest, former Illinois Attorney General Roland Burris, is the new U.S. Senator from Illinois because Blagojevich says so. Can the U.S. Senate stop this appointment? Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says they can. He issued this statement today, quote, "Under these circumstances, anyone appointed by Governor Blagojevich cannot be an effective representative of the people of Illinois, and as we have said, will not be seated by the Democratic caucus." Will not be seated. Will not. Can they do that? Sure, there are political considerations to weigh here, but I mean legally, procedurally, can they do that? Can they stop this? For the politics part of this, it is important to note that President-elect Obama is taking a very clear side on the issue. He issued a statement today that again called for Blagojevich's resignation, and he said, quote, "Roland Burris is a good man and a fine public servant, but the Senate Democrats made it clear weeks ago that they cannot accept an appointment made by a governor who is accused of selling this very Senate seat. I agree with their decision. While Governor Blagojevich is entitled to his day in court, the people of Illinois are entitled to a functioning government and major decisions free of taint and controversy." Turns out that whole free of controversy thing is no longer an available option. Sorry. But what does happen now? And will Roland Burris be a senator or will he not? Joining us now is my friend Chuck Todd, NBC's political director and the newly named chief White House correspondent for NBC. Chuck, this is my first real chance to say congratulations on that, first of all. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm just glad to be here and not have a bobblehead representing me.
I don't know if you were able to see our interview with Mr. Burris there. He says that this is a legal appointment, which doesn't seem to be anything that is contested. I think the legal question is whether Harry Reid is right when he says senators have the power under Article 1 of the Constitution to decide not to seat him. How do you see that legal question?
Well, I have consulted with everybody that is a lot smarter than I am about the law, including our own Pete Williams. We've talked to people like Lawrence Tribe of Harvard, a very famed legal scholar. Some other folks who are sort of understand political law, and what I mean by political law are disputes like this when it comes to elections and seating and office holders and things like that. And no one's quite clear. The one seemed to be unanimous consent. The unanimous agreement here is that the Senate can delay the seating of Burris. And by delay, when you look at the one case where we saw one of the houses of Congress, and this was the U.S. House at the time, refused to seat a member of Congress back in the mid-'60s. It took 2.5 years to 3 years for that dispute to be settled in court. And the courts ruled, no, the House couldn't refuse to seat this guy. He had to be put in that seat. But 2.5 years. Politically, all Harry Reid wants to do is kick this can down the street a little bit. Think about, let's say this even gets expedited in 3 months. You brought up the December 9th criminal complaint that Patrick Fitzgerald made public and issued, which of course led to the arrest of Governor Blagojevich. Well, he's now, that 30-day expiration date on that criminal complaint to move it to an indictment comes up next week. So Blagojevich probably becomes an indicted governor next week. Suddenly, it's now an indicted governor that has appointed Roland Burris. Political pressure put to him a little bit more. Throw in the fact that impeachment proceedings have begun in Illinois, and maybe by mid-February or March, Blagojevich is not even governor of Illinois anymore. And so then the question will be, is the appointment, if the U.S. Senate still hasn't seated him, and Burris may have a lawsuit, but it's sitting in the court system, at that point, can the new governor say, you know what, this appointment, I'm going to rescind the appointment? My point is, we know the fact is this. Harry Reid has the ability to delay this, and at this point, that's what he wants to do.
Article 1, Section 5 is also really clear that senators could expel someone from the Senate. They have that delaying option. They could also expel him under a two-thirds vote if he did get seated. If they did that, am I right in thinking that Blagojevich could just appoint him again? They could just start the cycle over and over again?
Well, what's funny is that you've tapped into something here that a whole bunch of Illinois Democrats are just on one, who know Blagojevich very well, have told me today. Blagojevich picked the one person that would drive sort of Obama and his team crazy and make life basically a living hell for the parts of the Illinois political establishment here that are trying to get Blagojevich out of office. And that is by appointing Roland Burris, because Roland Burris doesn't have, it's not somebody they can somehow say he's just part of this Blagojevich gang. He's above reproach, but he is somebody that has been, to be kind, as one person described him to me, a lovable loser in Illinois Democratic politics. Nobody believes this guy is going to be able. He's been rejected by Democratic primary voters 3 times now in his attempts to run for governor. So there is a lot of unease about the idea of him being the holder of this Senate seat, because they don't think he can win not only a primary but win a general.
Chuck Todd, NBC political director and chief White House correspondent, thanks again for coming on the show. This is so much more fascinating than we ever thought it was going to be.
People just need that press conference today. I just would hit play over and over and over again.
Political
Unbelievable
jazz.
stuff.
Happy New Year, Chuck. Thanks a lot.
Happy New Year to you.